Yeah.
Okay, okay. Push, pull. Okay. Yeah, good day guys, how you going? Hope you're having a good day. And I hope you can hear me over whatever that sound is. If I tell you that I'm visiting the biggest museum in Southeast Asia, where would you say that is? In Bangkok? In Kuala Lumpur? In Jakarta? No, actually. It's in this sleepy little city called Kuala Terrenganu, an East Coast peninsular Malaysian city. And here I'm about to explore the biggest museum that I've ever been to. I'm quite excited actually. The architecture alone is quite striking. It's a very traditional 16 pillar house design. Looks like I've got my day cut out for me. I think I'm gonna start in the main gallery, check out some traditional houses, and then probably some water-based stuff. My God. These buildings are so gigantic, like it is hard to put into scale how big these buildings are. I believe that the museum in Borneo is the biggest one by museum floor space, but that's the biggest one by land area. There's fish in there. This water is so green, I wasn't expecting fish. It's very, very well air conditioned. I had to leave my bag outside though, unfortunately. Okay, so this is like the first exhibit as you come in, and it's actually really fascinating. So apparently this was discovered at a riverbank where people used to wash their feet before going into a prayer hall. But the inscriptions here are in Jawi, which is Malay written in Arabic. Establishes Islam as the religion of the land and establishes law, Islamic law, and trade and things like that. It's really cool. That's a great bit of history. They even have all the inscriptions translated on these panels, and a great bit of history lesson on the walls. And that's my kind of history. That's an old pushroad Harley with a bicycle style Kickstarter and a kerosene lamp. Yeah, that's a kerosene lamp headlight. Just like, look at those wheels. There's no inscription on these, but these are kind of Chinese, so I imagine to signify, I mean this is clearly Jawi, but this is Chinese blue ceramic, but written in Jawi. Very fascinating. This place is gigantic, but there's like, I've seen one family aside from that big group doing an event. Like, so I've seen 3 other tourists. It feels very empty. It feels like I'm here by myself. There's a whole section on textiles, and given how every museum I've been to in Malaysia had something to do with textiles, you can tell how important it is to culture. I actually remember reading that one of the skills a Malay girl had to have back in the day was being able to weave, otherwise she would not find a partner. So, and actually on this one that says a girl's ability to weave was a gauge of her intelligence. So I gotta say, I love some of these patterns. I'd rock one of these, like as a, what do you call it, a pocket square. Interesting. Okay, so apparently it has to do with like that pattern that's on there, rather than the pattern overall. To me, this looks mildly like Scottish weaving kilt. I wonder why some of the women here are depicted without a hijab. I would have imagined Islam to have been a big part of everywhere in Malaysia for a long time. You know, Kelantan and Kota Baru is the only place I've actually seen men wear these traditional garbs. This is new. So apparently you can like polish the cloth with a seashell. This sounds like something I would do. Sounds very repetitive and satisfying. I didn't realize this place was 3 stories tall. You know, you visit a different culture and then you see like, this is knuckle bones, as we call it in New Zealand. Or, okay, we have this in Korea as well. And I grew up doing this in Korea. You would do a little race with a stick on the rim of a used bicycle wheel, or even a hula hoop. And of course you have the, oh no, this is a little different. This is not just for jumping around on. It's really cool. It's really cool. You see the differences, but then you notice the similarities. Like for another example, this is quite similar to how we tension a traditional Korean drum. But Korean drums are not tapered like this. Honestly, if I could spend some time learning to carve like this by hand, I would. I just don't know how to seek out someone who'd be willing to teach. Okay, so let's see. That saw and that style of plane with the handles on both sides, that's a Chinese style, traditional Chinese woodworking style of plane and handsaw. That one's tension with a string, and this one you like, no, you push these ones, these are push planes, unlike the pull planes of Japanese style of woodworking. These carving knives also have a very, very aggressive hollow grind on them. Flat grind on the tip, so the tip doesn't snap as easily. There's a very aggressive hollow grind on the main edge to make it as sharp as possible. I wonder what kind of wood typically is being used here. Unfortunately, I don't see any description of particular woods being used here. I just want to know if it's hard or softwood. I imagine they're hardwood, but I don't know what kind of wood's typically found in this region. I just know gum tree is quite prevalent around here, but gum tree is a pain in the ass to work with by hand. You know, it's not just decorations either, these carvings, they serve quite a practical purpose. So, if you make parts of your house with carvings, that means there's going to be air flowing through them and also light. See where sort of the Islamic iconography comes in? Like a lot of these carvings have like Quran verses and Jawi or Arabic in them. I'd be even more interested in learning traditional metal working. I don't know much about soft metal working. This is a very, like I've always wanted to learn how to engrave like this. This is amazing. Every time I try it turns to crap. Doesn't matter how many YouTube videos I watch, you know. Oh my god, look at those birds. Oh, that's the best thing I've seen. I'm a metal worker by heart. I'm more of a machinist than a tinsmith or a goldsmith. Wouldn't mind learning though. And of course there's a whole section on weapons and carats. These look like the almost same ones that were written in the weapons section of the Ceremonies Museum. But yeah, one of my things I want to do is to recreate a traditional Korean sword, but that requires me to learn forging, basic engraving and soft metal working, and also woodworking. Of course, back in the day, these would have been all delegated to different people, but what am I going to do? Find a master wooden sheath craftsman in this day and age? Weaving is a big part of Maori culture too, so it's always fascinating to see. So the theory goes that likely the Maori people migrated through Southeast Asia into New Zealand. So then I would imagine that some of this weaving DNA would have made its way along the journey. I also remember I really liked sleeping on weaved mats when I was a kid. Not something you can find very commonly in the West, but in Asia it wasn't too hard. They're very cool, they keep you cool, and they have excellent ventilation. That's one gigantic food cover. That's like at least 2 meals for me. Oh, this is a recreation of a copper worker shop. Fascinating. So that's your furnace right there. Traditionally done with charcoal. You have your crucibles. Of course, but where would you put the air inlet? This will not get hot enough as it is. Charcoal alone burnt with just normal air. Oh, I wonder if that's a form of, like, I wonder if there's meant to be like a duct underneath and you push the air in. Is that what that is? Then I would imagine it's sort of like a Japanese bellow, though that one's made with a wooden box instead of what appears to be a large tube of wood. Unfortunately, the inscription doesn't go that in depth about the mechanics behind this, but that's a very fascinating concept. Interesting. I knew it could be done, but I just never seen it being done, using hand tools to machine metal. So that's clearly some form of a lathe, and he's like using a woodworking style of handheld lathe tooling to work that. I find it very fascinating that brassware industry in Terengganu used to be considered cottage industry, which means it was carried out like in the house, not at a separate place of business. So that would mean you just learned how to do brassworking from your father, who learned from your grandfather. 6 different interpretations of how Terengganu became Terengganu. My favorite one is where the Cantonese people took the river down and came to this area. They were told this place is a bright place, as in the sun is shining. It's the East Coast after all. And that goes Terrenganu di sini. And when they returned home, they only remembered Terrenganu, which turned into Terengganu. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that there's evidence going back to the Stone Age around these parts. I mean, the place has a gigantic river, access to the sea, lots of flat land for farming. This is a great place to settle, 10 out of 10. I actually wanted to visit this place, but it didn't seem like you could even observe much from the outside, where most of the sites were kind of closed off. This is Kampong Rantai Alley. So this is where a lot of these artifacts were discovered. And yeah, I was quite fascinated to see that. Oh, that's awesome that I found so much in just this sleepy little town. I wanted to go check it out, but it doesn't seem like there was too much for me right there. There's some basic history of Terengganu, but you can see why this place was kind of important, if you will. So here's Indochina, which is like, well, modern day Thailand and Vietnam. So China's way up here, and then there's India and Arabic traders coming from this area. Here's Sumatra and Java, so this is Indonesia now, and Borneo, which is half Indonesia, Brunei, and Malaysia. So you look at how the Chinese traders would have traveled. They likely stopped in Champa and Kelantan and Johor or Singapore before heading up through the Straits of Malacca. And then the Europeans and the Arabs would have come down the strait and then back up this way. It does seem to indicate that there was some Siamese traders who made their way all the way down here, past Kota Baru, which, I mean, would make sense, and also a few armies and the like. The presence of Thai is much less than Kota Baru was up north. Okay, I swear my leg was just chafing, but I don't think it is. It's like, I don't know what's up with it, but there's a really nasty, sharp seeds around these area. Those little assholes, eh? Can't even make them out, they're that small. So I haven't found a satisfying answer to something I've wondered for a while in Malaysia. The fact that Islam is so prevalent here, you know, it's the state religion. Given their proximity to a very Buddhist country, like literally just to the north of them, of Thailand, and frequent trading with the Chinese. I was hoping to learn when I was reading upon that stone that they found declaring Islam to be the state religion of Terengganu as to why, but I haven't found that yet. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Malaysia's had quite a few different types of coins and currency throughout due to the British occupation and then different states being, well, independent and things like that. And also, of course, you have the Japanese occupation time money as well. Honestly, I wish they had just stuck to paper money for the cents as well. It's such a pain in the ass carrying the metal coins around. I always fumble with them too. I didn't realize that there was such intense Terengganu-Siam relations. I love these. These are basically what you would think of e-bikes today, but they are petrol powered. So they have a hub motor, which is amazing, and you have to start the motor by pedaling, and you can assist on hills using the pedals. These are so cute. I wish you could still get these. Oh man, these remind me of like food containers that you would see at like sports festivals in Korea growing up. Like you'd get like stacks of these and have a whole feast laid out for you. Oh man, look at these album covers. You don't even need a description to tell what era these are from, eh? I've always loved these old photos of schools. Always wondered what it'd be like to teach in one of these, you know? Okay, I'm checking out these old carousels in the next section over. You can actually see different rates of erosion and rusting in the different layers, right? Because these are all folded metal, like Japanese tamehagane or Damascus metal. It's just how you make good metal out of unusable carbon metal. There's different commendations, like Knight Commander of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George. Collar and Grand Cordon of the Supreme Order of Chrysanthemum Japan. Must be different things awarded to different sultans through the ages. I've already spent 2 hours in just the first two galleries, so this place is awesome. So I asked the security lady whether or not those blocks are truly closed. So that's gallery C, I believe. And she said, yeah, they're not open anymore, unfortunately. Neither is that one, apparently. I guess I'll just have a bit of a wander around and see if anything else catches my eyes. I know there's more to the museum in general, so I will head there, but I'm just curious about this section. I'm starting to think I'm breaking in. There seemed to be something upstairs. So that's where I was a second ago. And this is, okay, not allowed up that way. And these doors are closed. Okay, apparently not a place for someone to visit. I think the place I was just at, like the abandoned looking place, was the restaurant, the museum restaurant. It had restaurant written on it. So if that place closes, there's nowhere to eat around here. So I could do with buy to eat. Alright, so back to the crossroads. So I think I go left there for the traditional houses and then go right there for boats. It's like a traditional longhouse. The air in here actually feels cooler, like a few degrees cooler. Interesting. I don't know what the reason is for such a low door. It's just so well ventilated, like that, and the different rooms don't even have full walls. A lot of steps in traditional houses are kind of uneven. Yeah, I really love these styles of houses with the high floors, so you don't get any of the heat coming onto you. Oh wow, okay. So this isn't just like a random house that they built. No, this is like a house with history. It had a Thai king stay in it once when they visited as a dignitary. But I suspect that doorway without a stair might not be an original feature.
Yeah.
Okay. Push, pull. Okay. It's pretty tricky. We wrap them on the bottom instead of on the top. I got taught how to spin a top, and we just kind of had a nice chat about life in general and what it's like to be a tourist and why I go to new countries. I told them it's food, and it really is. What a great time I just had. I don't want to film any of it because we were having a very genuine moment, but the film snake shadowed me. Ooh. A few different types of planes. Oh. So apparently there's a activity in every house, and the one here was the spinning top. And apparently they have a spinning top that weighs 4 kilograms and can spin up to 2 hours, which is insane. And I was told that all of these houses, not only do they have an activity, but they're also actual relocated houses of different important housing around the area. I like this design the best. It has a high roof gable and a cool veranda. Yeah, this feels chill. These stairs are so steep. Yep. Honestly, these house designs kind of kind of rock. I wonder how good the roof holds up to rain. There's a traditional hearth, is the best way I could put that. On wooden platform too. This is very fascinating, aside from being very hot. I love you can just kind of make out most words in Malay. I can't say my immediate impression of this aquarium is all that great, if I'm being honest. These tangies are clean. Yeah, these fish are in weight. I mean, Southeast Asia, unfortunately, these are common sights around here. I'm not gonna linger. In fact, if I just don't go to the aquarium, go around this way, looks like there's a, what do you call it? Another path. Let's go there instead. That looks like a mosque though, right there. Really like this place. I have not seen a single other foreign or intranational tourist here. So we've just been workers. I'm pretty much left alone to roam just by myself, which is cool. Oh, it's a boat exhibit. Oh, cool. What boats? Whoa. You see that swarm of something's dead over there. Okay, so apparently this is a deep sea fishing boat. It's a single sail, 15-person boat. This is crazy. You can drag this out to deep sea. Like, that just doesn't seem stable for me. I'll be freaking out every row. I don't think that's a rowboat, but you get what I mean. These are pretty cute. Notice something. Generally, most of these boats have like that curvature to them. And like the bigger boats, they're all just kind of scaled up. But it's generally a very similar design of sort of the bones on the inside and then the skin and then planks for people to stand on. I just love how some boats are like, on the descriptions they say, oh, these are used exclusively by the river communities but not by the coastal people. I'm looking at them and going, boat. It's also a boat, floats in the water. This is awesome. Okay, so this is how they traditionally bent the planks for the boat. Man, that's a lot of curvature. Usually you can only find this type of warped wood in the hardware stores. Do they steam them, or do they just get it wet and like bend it a little bit at a time? It sounds very tedious. Right, so you have the bones, as I called it. I believe that's the keel. And then you got the planks on the outside. So pretty much every boat is sort of one variation of this. I can't tell if this building's unused or what. Doors open. Gallery Terrenganu Fisheries Gallery. So let's see, right here is all the fishing villages along the coast. This is what they would have looked like back in the day. Wish I could have seen some of these. This place is very well detailed. Different types of oars, different types of fishing hooks and lines, different types of nets even, and traps. It's small but very, very informative, and the exhibits are quite well made. I've already been here for 4 hours, probably a little bit more. I'm really getting hungry though. Doesn't mean I want to rush through anything. This one's like weaved instead of wooden planks. Haven't seen that one before.
No, the process is that. Where do you stay here?
They sand fried this, I think it's like dried fish of some sort. Actually, sand frying is awesome. It's not crazy. Listen to how crispy that is too. This fishing hut is pretty cool too. It's so breezy. So nice. Looks like there's a jetty here. I wonder if there's a boat that runs regularly, like in Bangkok. I don't think so. I looked it up and I couldn't find one, but I think that's the extent of the museum. Let's just keep wandering down this way and see if there's anything else before I sign off for the day. It is sweltering though. So the guy tells me that the fisherman's hut that I was in a second ago is not a real one, unlike the other houses that I've been to. And it is a slightly scaled down replica. Doesn't this place have such an ambience to it? It's a very cool museum, I gotta say. Oh wow, okay. So they're still using traditional jointing to build these. I think they're building those resting huts. That's a castle joint. And a full thorough mortise on these. That's a lot of work. That is a lot of work. Huh. Most buildings in New Zealand and like in the West have just completely switched to 2x4s, stick building styles. And I mean, it's efficient, but they have no character really. I mean, look at these. Castle joint, through mortise with a wedge. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Cafe Pella. Oh, okay, so normal cafe, I guess. It's a bit unfortunate. Malay, English, and then I'm pretty sure that's Chinese, and then Japanese. So up north in Kota Baru, instead of Japanese, there was Thai. So I wonder what's up with that. So I would imagine there's still a lot of Thai people who come this far down. Yeah, I wish I could go on these boats, but I think they're off limits. Alright, back to the starting point. I think I've seen everything then that's on here. Start wandering out to the exit. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. That was pretty fun. Overall, I spent about 5 hours at the museum. If the other two wings were open, it would have been another at least 2, I would imagine. I don't know if they'll ever be open again or what, but yeah. Thanks for coming along. Your company was great. Hope you have a great day. Take care of yourselves. Cheers.